So I understand the struggle of trying to level up the battle pass fast in Cold War and Warzone, but in this video I'm going to show you guys how to make it as quick and easy as possible for the second season of Black Ops Cold War, and obviously these tips apply to Warzone as well. Very quickly before we get into it, I'm doing a giveaway for the Season 2 Battle Pass. Basically, I'm giving away some COD points, and if you win, you can use these towards tiers or buying the second season Battle Pass or in-store items, anything like that. If you want to enter the giveaway, all you have to do is like the video, subscribe to my channel, and click the bell icon to turn post notifications on. Comment your Twitter username below this video, and then go and follow me on Twitter. My Twitter username is RagerGamer, and there'll be a link for that in the description. Obviously, there'll be rules there as well. So yeah, if you do those 4 steps, you'll be entered into the giveaway, and I'll choose some people to win some COD points, which you can put towards whatever you guys want. I'll be choosing people throughout the season, so if you're watching this a while after Season 2 has come out, you can still be entered into the giveaway. But if you're not interested, not to worry, and let's get into the video. Now this video provides every single way to level up tiers faster in Season 2 of Cold War, so be sure to stay tuned until the end of the video as it's packed full of tips, and I'll also be busting some myths as well. And if you want to jump to a specific part of the video, there are timestamps for that in the description, so go and check them out if you're interested in a specific part. Now let's jump into the video. So as a very brief summary, the main ways to tier up faster in the game include the time played, the XP earned, double battle pass XP in progression, earning COD points, tier skips, and then like unique methods to Modern Warfare. So I'm sure most of you know this already, but for those of you who don't, Black Ops Cold War and Warzone have been integrated now, whereas originally Warzone was linked with Modern Warfare, but now Warzone is linked with Cold War, and what this means is that the Battle Pass content is shared between Warzone and Cold War only, so you can use and unlock the stuff in both of those games. You can also get Battle Pass progression from Cold War, Warzone and Modern Warfare, but you can only use the items in Warzone or Cold War. So if you want to get the stuff from Modern Warfare, it's not going to count. You can only level up your tiers in Modern Warfare. That's the only use it has from now onwards. So first let's talk about Black Ops Cold War, then let's talk about Warzone, and then we'll talk about Modern Warfare. There's lots to talk about, and I'm going to get into that now. So first of all, we're going to talk about multiplayer. So the main factor involved in the Battle Pass, as per usual, is time played. This means that you obviously need longer matches, because if you're spending more time in the matches and less time in the lobbies and the pre-game menus and waiting for games to start, that means it's going to be more efficient. Whereas if you're spending more time in the lobbies, like if you're doing lots of little short games, you're spending more time waiting for the game to finish, waiting for the game to load, and waiting in the lobby and so on, and it's just wasting time. So you want longer matches because it's more efficient. So obviously the longer game modes are better. So for example, this would be ones like Domination, Hardpoint, Combined Arms, Fireteam Dirty Bomb, and so on. There's other ones as well, but those are kind of the main ones. The caveat as per usual to this is that you need to be doing well in these matches too. You can't just be playing long. You can, but obviously time played isn't the only factor, and so if you're not doing very well in these matches, you may need to be looking at other methods, which we'll talk about later on. And other than making it more efficient by choosing longer matches, there's not really much else you can do. Like, you can't affect time played in any other way. So the next main factor is XP earned. So one of the best ways to get XP at the moment is to play Nuketown 24/7 or other Mosh Pit playlists with new DLC maps. So for example, Raid Express and maps like that. But I still think Nuketown 24/7 is probably the best playlist or Mosh Pit for that. Obviously it's a very small map. It's got lots of enemies. You can run around, get lots of kills. They're quite quick, but they can also be quite long. That is more effective and efficient. So it's definitely worth playing that an awful lot, because that will definitely help with the tiers. If there are no good 24/7 matches, you can obviously then just play longer game modes. So for example, if they don't have Nuketown in the game, just play longer games with objectives and high XP amounts, like, for example, Domination, Combined Arms, Hardpoint. You can also play ones like Fireteam Dirty Bomb and so on as well. Other than high XP games and modes, it's also important to be able to do well in your matches as well, because the better you do, the more XP you get. And so my general tips for doing well, some of them are kind of basic and common sense, but for multiplayer you want to be having a really good class. So if you're not good with your class, go and look up a good class for that weapon so that you can end up getting more kills, because you want to be getting as many kills as possible. You also want to be getting as many kill streaks as possible, using more equipment and field upgrades. Again, this all helps to get score and XP. And also go for the objective as much as you can. So for example, in Domination, go for the Dom points, in Kill Confirmed, collect the tags, and so on. Do whatever you can to get as much XP as possible. As well as this, you can be doing challenges, because this helps indirectly by earning more XP. So for multiplayer, they've got lots of challenges. You've got the daily challenges now, which are out. You've got a whole list to choose from. Use the ones that make the most sense or match up with other challenges or other things you're going to be doing. Do those and then swap them out for other daily challenges so that you're always doing new ones. There's also the career, battle hardened and dark ops challenges. Make sure you're looking out for those, and again choosing ones that kind of fit with what you're doing. So for example, if you're trying to level up the assault rifle, then doing challenges that are around assault rifles or long distance would be helpful, because then it means you're doing more challenges or more things in one go, and it's easier to get this done. As well as this, if you also go to the barracks tab, go to progression, go to season 2 and go to prestige challenges, you'll see that each challenge gives XP, which is good, and there's bonus XP for completing all 20 prestige challenges in season 2. There's also other rewards which we'll talk about later on. But that's not it for challenges, because there's also camo challenges, and if you guys are interested in camo challenges, I've got loads of guides on this. There'll be a playlist for those, and there's a card for that on screen with many different camo guides and gold gun guides, so go and check that out if you're interested. I'd highly recommend it. It helps you get the camos and it helps you get a lot of XP too, which again can indirectly help you earn your tiers faster. As well as this, they've also got reticle challenges, and getting to certain weapon levels and unlock challenges gives XP. So if you're using new weapons to level them up, that gives you XP, and again that all helps. So definitely be trying out a whole bunch of different challenge techniques to get more XP. And kind of as I've said, like, you just need to overlap the challenges to get as much XP as possible. So try and overlap the camo challenges, the daily challenges, the prestige challenges, and so on. As well as this, obviously, if you keep getting enough XP to get to level 50 in season 2, you'll get yourself a tier skip. And obviously you can use this to redeem it and get a free tier in the battle pass. There may be other ways to get these tier skips too that I don't know of them, but if there are, obviously I will let you guys know. Obviously it's important just to know though that for XP you need to get as much as possible, but double XP tokens and double XP weekends do not count towards your tiers. What only counts is when you get double tier progression weekends, and you do need to keep an eye out for these. They come normally at least 1 to 2 times per season. I think in season 1 they were around at least twice for multiple days at a time, so definitely keep an eye out for that. And when those double tier progression weekends are there, use them as much as you can. Obviously earning COD points from, for example, the battle pass, you get free COD points when you get to certain tiers. That can also be used to buy tiers as well if you need. So let's say you specifically wanted an item, you could use that, but to be honest with you, I'd recommend not doing that, because you normally have to spend money to get the COD points, or it's not enough to really help. So I wouldn't suggest buying COD points, earning them and maybe using them if you can. Otherwise you can use the COD points to buy yourself the next battle pass, so it's up to you guys. Alternatively, if you enter my giveaway competition and you win, you could use those COD points to do it for free. So obviously make sure you get around to doing that, because you could get some COD points that could help you towards this pass. So that was everything for multiplayer. What about zombies then? Well, let's move on to that quickly. So both Onslaught and Zombies count, and it seems to be a similar rate to multiplayer for zombies. Now there's a brand new mode that's just come out called Outbreak, and it's kind of zombies but based on bigger maps like Fireteam Dirty Bomb maps. I haven't really been able to test out this mode yet, but this mode seems like it's going to be really good for XP, battle pass progression and so on. It'll probably be very similar to normal zombies, if not better. So I'd highly recommend checking that out. Obviously I'll let you guys know if it's dramatically worse, but I imagine it will be just as good as regular zombies, if not better. So what about zombies? What can you do to kind of get more battle pass progression in zombies? Well, obviously you need to survive longer in the zombies map, or Onslaught or whatever it is, as getting to higher rounds is better for more tier progression, and you obviously need to make sure you have a good survival strategy. If not, you need to look up some zombies tips, for example completing the Easter eggs, pack punching, unlocking wonder weapons, secret little Easter eggs and tricks and stuff is really important. And if you guys want some of those guides for Firebase C, I've obviously done those, so go and check that out if you're interested in how to get the wonder weapon and stuff like that. As well as this, obviously you can do challenges for Zombies 2, for which there's daily challenges. There's also career, battle hardened and dark ops challenges like for multiplayer. And if you go to the barracks tab, go to progression, season 2 and prestige challenges, like for multiplayer, you'll see challenges for zombies, and each challenge gives you XP. And obviously there's also a bonus amount of XP for completing all 20 prestige challenges in season 2. So again, it's good to get a mixture of modes, because if you're just playing multiplayer, you're not doing any of the zombies challenges, you won't get as much XP and you won't level up your tiers as fast. Whereas if you're doing zombies as well, you can do those challenges, and that really helps again to get more XP to level up your tiers fast. As well as this, there's also different camo challenges from multiplayer, so these unlock the dark ether camo, so it's definitely good to start working towards that. That will obviously get you a lot of XP, and again obviously that will help you to get more battle pass progression. So definitely the camo challenges and all the other challenges in zombies is definitely worth considering. Obviously do the reticle challenges as well if you can, and obviously as I said before, getting to level 50 in multiplayer or zombies or Black Ops Cold War will get you a tier skip. But that's pretty much it for zombies. So for people asking should I play multiplayer or zombies, they're actually about the same. Zombies is more consistent. Sometimes you can do better in multiplayer and sometimes you might do slightly worse. So it just depends on how many kills you're getting in multiplayer, what kind of game modes you're playing and so on. If you can do really well in multiplayer it might be worth doing that. But again, you know, if you want a bit more consistency, you can also play zombies. I think it's generally a good idea to play both because you don't want to get bored of one thing or the other. Not only does it make it a bit more interesting, but also, like I said, if you're mixing modes like zombies and multiplayer, you can then be getting more challenges done, you can be getting more stuff done, and ultimately helping you to get towards that battle pass tier 100 faster. So that would be my advice when people ask, should I play zombies or multiplayer or so on. At this point, it doesn't really matter, go for whatever you want. Now let's move away from Cold War and look at Warzone. There's some good ways to do here, and then obviously we can finally move on to Modern Warfare. Okay, so Warzone is obviously a great mode as it's potentially a very long match with a decent amount of XP if you do okay. My tips for completing the battle pass with Warzone is obviously do as much looting as you can, get more kills, do as many contracts as you can, and again I've got guides for all the different types of contracts. I'll have cards for those on screen and links in the description if you're interested in that. You generally obviously want to survive as long as possible, but you want to be a bit careful as well. Take it a bit more easy, be a bit more safe, don't run and gun, otherwise you're likely to die sooner, which would result in a poorer amount of tier progression and XP and so on. So obviously, like I say, you want to survive longer so that you can place higher in the match, get towards the top rank in that match, and obviously that will get you more XP, but also more time played because you're in the match for longer, and this all helps to progress your tiers faster. Generally, honestly, it's better to, like, even if you're not a great player, if you just get maybe 1 or 2 kills or do some contracts or whatever, do as much as you can, and then when you're getting towards the end, if you think, okay, I might die, it might just be better, you can literally just go and take it a bit easy, not exactly hide, but hold down an area, be a bit more safe, and just be on the lookout for enemies. And if you survive longer, the time that you've racked up will really help, whereas if you run a gun and die straight away, you're going to get a poor amount of time played and not an amazing amount of XP. So that's why it's important to really try and survive as long as you can, but also getting lots of contracts and kills and so on along the way. As usual, like I say, Plunder is also good. It's about the same as Warzone. Sometimes I found it to be better and sometimes worse, so it's a little bit more unreliable, but generally Plunder is still really good for getting this battle pass done. And obviously we've got a Rebirth Island, which is about the same as well, and obviously we've got a new Warzone map probably coming soon, so that will obviously likely be the same amount of progression, but if anything massive changes I will let you guys know. So for challenges, obviously you've got the daily challenges, the intel mission challenges, mastery challenges, the camo challenges obviously that carries across from Cold War, and obviously you can level up weapons as well. So there's lots to do in Warzone, you just try and do as much as you can, and Warzone is probably a very good match still. If you get really long games in and a decent amount of XP from either contracts or kills or so on, Warzone can be just as good as Cold War. If you're not quite as good, or you're not surviving as long, or you're not doing as much stuff in the game, so for example you're not getting as many kills or contracts or so on, then Cold War might be better. So it's up to you guys what you want to do, but we'll talk more about the comparison of all these game modes at the end of the video. Now let's finally move on to Modern Warfare, and then we'll talk about comparison and some other tips for the battle pass. So Modern Warfare, it's the same kind of tips for game modes and XP etc as it was for Cold War. So you know, the good mosh pits like Shipment or Shoot House if they're available. I feel like Shipment could actually probably be better than Nuketown just because it's smaller and you get more kills, but obviously you don't have it anywhere near as much in the game, so that's obviously important to think of. Obviously don't forget you can do all the challenges for Modern Warfare as well. In terms of the trials, there's a set amount of tier progression you get for each trial no matter how long you take to do it. So if you've saved up trial tokens, use them as soon as possible and do the trial as quickly as possible. Trials probably won't be a thing much anymore because a lot of people will probably use their trial tokens, and I don't believe they're handing out more trial tokens. I might be completely wrong, but I think possibly that might have been phased out. So if you've got trial tokens, use them, do them as quickly as possible because it gives you a set amount of tier progression, but if not, don't worry, they're not incredibly important. Obviously there's also tier skip tokens as well, so you can earn them through the store. There's a free gift bundle in the For You section of the store. Sometimes you get those. These automatically and immediately redeem to level you up a tier, so look out for these every time it says free gift in the store. I don't know if they still do that for Modern Warfare, but if they do, that's obviously important to look out for. I imagine they probably will, and occasionally you can still get something like a tier skip. They did at one point have it so you could actually earn tier skips from challenges. I don't know whether this is still around in Modern Warfare, but if it is, definitely look out for that. Occasionally in the daily challenges section, you'd get like a tier skip token that you could earn by doing a challenge. So definitely look out for that. And obviously these ones have to be redeemed by you manually, so they don't automatically get redeemed for the battle pass. So those were kind of the main tips for Cold War, Modern Warfare and Warzone, but now let's move on to some other tips. So people always ask me if I think they'll be able to complete the battle pass in time. So they'll say, oh, like I'm tier X or Y, and you know, we've got this long left, do you think I'll complete it? This is kind of my general advice. So you want to consider trying to level up the battle pass first, ideally, and then buy the pass if you think you'll get your money's worth. Now, This is because you don't want to buy it and then find you won't actually get anything useful out of it. And obviously don't forget that, you know, a lot of the important stuff like the weapons and that you get for free anyway, so the rest of the stuff is just cosmetic. And, you know, is it really worth spending money on cosmetic stuff that you don't end up unlocking and therefore don't get those items? So you have to consider that when you're buying the pass. You also want to set yourself a goal as well. So for example, I often say I want to get 2 tiers done every day on average. This could be 3 tiers on one day and 1 tier on another, but obviously that still averages out as 2. Now bear in mind, this is a really important new point. It seems like in Cold War, unlike in Modern Warfare, the higher the tier you are, the longer it takes to progress to the next tier, i.e. from tier 99 to 100, for example, is much longer than it takes to go from tier 1 to 2. It's kind of similar to how XP progression and levels work in multiplayer in general. So bear this in mind, as you don't want to be leaving loads of tiers until the last minute, because they progressively get more and more time consuming to complete for each tier. Now, I was looking at some analysis that Sour did, and you know, he found that the time it took for tiers towards the end of the pass was almost double the time it took to start off with. So it started off being around about half an hour or so, and then towards the end it progressed almost towards an hour. So there's no point just doing a little bit of the battle pass and then saying, oh, it's fine, I can kind of rush it towards the end. You need to bear in mind that towards the end it's taking almost an hour per tier, so you don't want to leave too many tiers near the end of the battle pass when it's about to change over, because that is going to mean that you're not going to be able to get it all done in time. So try and do as many tiers as you can early on in the battle pass, and that way the ones that you've got left to do, they'll take longer, and so you won't be left trying to do too much in a short period of time. But obviously that doesn't mean you can't still decide to kind of work towards an average as a goal. So for example, you could still say I want to do 2 tiers a day on average, but just be aware that it might be better off trying to get 3 or more tiers to start off with, and then towards the end you're getting sort of 1 or 2 per day, and that way that will still probably average out as 2, but you're not leaving too much to do in one go. To know how many tiers you should be doing in general for the battle pass, at a very minimum, you just take the number of tiers minus the tier you're on. So for example, 100 is the total number of tiers. Let's say you're on tier 60, so that'd be 100 minus 60, which is 40. And then let's say I had 20 days left for the battle pass, so that'd be 100 minus 60, which is 40, like I say. Divide that by 20 is 2 tiers per day on average. But obviously, like I say, bear in mind that the later tiers take longer to complete. So after all that then, which games and modes are best? As I kind of said before, I'm not 100% sure what's the best, but obviously it depends on how well you do in each mode. The longer matches are generally better than shorter ones if you're getting a decent amount of XP, therefore short, very high XP games can even be better than longer ones at times. Generally, the best modes in my opinion are kind of Black Ops Cold War multiplayer, so like Nuketown, good mosh pit modes, Domination, Combined Arms, modes like that. Zombies is also good too, it's just as good. I know it's probably more consistent than multiplayer. Definitely worth hopping onto that and trying lots of the different zombies maps. But you obviously want to be getting to high rounds. You don't want to just finish on like round 10. That wouldn't be great for efficiency of tiers. Warzone is obviously really good too, but it's probably just about as good as multiplayer, maybe slightly worse, but it doesn't matter because obviously, you know, it's good to get a variety of stuff. And again, if you can do different challenges in Warzone than you do for multiplayer or zombies, then obviously it's good to get a mixture of game modes and games that you're playing. Modern Warfare is obviously similar in earn rate probably to Black Ops Cold War, but I would only recommend using it if you don't have Cold War, or if like Shipment 24/7 is available, because that would be really good. It's probably better than Nuketown, but other than that, there's not really any need for Modern Warfare, especially if you haven't got any trials or anything like that. To be honest, I think most people will probably have forgotten about that game and focusing on the other games instead. So that's kind of my advice, what to do about the pass, how to complete it as easy as possible, and kind of my general advice with the season pass. So I hope you guys found this useful. If you did, be sure to leave a like, it really helps me out. Feel free to subscribe with your post notifications turned on as well to stay up to date with all my latest Cold War videos. I'm going to have lots of Cold War and Warzone videos, especially on sort of the new weapons, class setups, camo guides, and you know, lot challenge guides and lots of other stuff. So you want to be sticking around for that. Also, make sure to enter the giveaway if you're interested, so you can have the chance to win some COD points. Thanks for watching, hope you found it useful, and I'll see you guys all on the next video.